So I've tried recording this a few times off the top of my head. Uh, this review, this impressions of Dragon Quest V or Dragon Quest Your Story, and uh, I'm just not really happy with anything I have to say about it. Welcome back to Experience Points, a less formal, more laid back sort of review where I talk about normally games that I have been playing but haven't finished yet, RPGs specifically, but today we're talking about a movie based on a game that I have finished, which is really good, or the game was really good. The movie, though, Dragon Quest Your Story, is it worth your time? To save you some time? No, probably not, unless you're a huge fan of Dragon Quest V, in which case, maybe? It's hard. It's a hard call. I'm really conflicted about how I feel about the movie, and I'll just talk through that, I guess, a little bit. Dragon Quest Your Story is kind of an interesting attempt from Square Enix to make another movie. One of their more popular ones that they've done is Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, and that was pretty good overall. Before that, they did Final Fantasy Spirits Within, and that's been kind of critically panned and kind of almost killed Square. It's kind of interesting that they've decided to go back into the realm of making movies. Visually, obviously, this movie is phenomenal. It looks like a DreamWorks movie. It's good. And musically, Koichi Sugiyama's at the helm, of course, with a lot of his classic compositions from Dragon Quest V make a return in fully orchestrated form, and it's great. The voice acting in the game, because it's on Netflix, it's got the dub. I listened to the dub, and it was actually totally serviceable. It was pretty solid. So it's not like the actors or anything held it back. In fact, despite a lot of the movie's flaws, I felt still pretty invested in some of the characters, and maybe that's because I actually did have the prior background with the Super Famicom release. However, I feel like as a movie, it fails for a couple of reasons. I feel like the concept of it was kind of doomed to fail from the get-go. This is a massive Super Famicom RPG, Super Nintendo RPG that came out back in the day. It's like I want to say it's like 40 hours long or so. I've got a full review of it if you're interested. Go check it out over here. But the whole thing, trying to condense that down into a almost 2-hour experience, I think that was an endeavor doomed to fail from the beginning. You just can't cram that much into it unless you skip a lot. And they did. That's another thing. There are a lot of time gaps there, and in fact, this whole movie begins with time gaps. That's something that was bound to happen. One of the things that I felt they did sort of lazily, they tried to sort of pay homage to the original release of the game by showing some of the Super Nintendo actual cutscenes and text on screen, and have it overdubbed at least, which was nice. But that went on, I think, far too long, considering the fact that it's a theatrical release movie. I don't know. They could have done that a little bit better. If you're not already a fan of Dragon Quest V, let me just tell you, skip it, because this is not a standalone movie. This is something made to enhance the experience of fans of Dragon Quest V already. From my wife's perspective, it's about a 4 out of 10. If you've never played Dragon Quest V before, it's a 4 out of 10. Don't even worry about watching this. Not worth your time. If you have liked Dragon Quest V in the past and are thinking, hey, this might be a pretty good way to re-experience some of that, you'll still probably be a bit disappointed, because a lot of the things that you'd like them to maybe expand upon, the things that I would have liked them to expand upon, they kind of didn't. Holy crap, like the most impactful scene of Dragon Quest V was very truncated. I don't feel like it conveyed the horrors that set off our hero on this epic quest. The movie is only PG, so they'd have to get a little 13 if they wanted to really make this a bit more true to what I envisioned throughout the process, or throughout the course of the game. But I feel like they could have maybe done a little bit better of a job if they had focused more on telling a single story within the world of Dragon Quest V. Maybe narrow in on maybe the story that they told, where the hero and Bianca went to this haunted manor and stuff, and they had kind of told a story there. That would have been really good, and they could have focused on that and done that in maybe an hour and a half or so. they got way too ambitious, and it's still okay, but they skip so much. The pacing is mind-boggling in a way. And it's kind of impressive how much they were able to fit into it. I mean, some things had to be truncated, some characters were omitted that existed in the games, some choices that you make throughout the game that affect the, eventualities of the game. They kind of explored both ends of that a little bit, which was kind of interesting that they could do that. I feel like it's just gonna leave you feeling like you want more, and I guess that's what is okay, because there is more. You can go play the game, you can go play it on Nintendo DS, you can go play it on PS2, you can play it on the original Super Famicom release of the game. You can do that. I feel like that's still kind of a cop-out though. So I guess I would say if you just want to kind of relive select moments from the game and kind of get an interesting feel for it, get a different perspective on the events that happened in that game, this might be something that you're interested in. If you're looking for a cohesive story from start to finish that tells a coherent story, you're probably going to be disappointed. And if you want to relive the events of Dragon Quest V in a way that is like complete and accurate, then no. In fact, there are some things that deviate quite heavily from the original Super Famicom release of the game to a point where pretty much felt pretty fourth wall breaking, and that was pretty off-putting for me, and I wonder if that might be the same for you. I think that super mega fans of Dragon Quest V are probably not gonna really love the tail end of the movie, because it gets weird. It gets really weird and kind of preachy and self-aggrandizing, and that was just really weird. It was like, we interrupt this movie to bring to you this homage to how great Square Enix is, and it's just like one of those things that's like, really, come on guys, that you killed the climax. Like, you could have cut that out entirely and it would have been a better movie. I'm keeping things intentionally vague. God, I mean, maybe I should make a second video just talking about with spoilers, because I feel like there are some things that I want to talk about that would be inherently spoilery. So maybe I'll do that if you guys are interested. But until then, let me know if you want to follow up where we talk spoilers. But guys, take care. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you guys next time. Have a good day.